One reason solo board gaming has exploded in the past few years is because there are so many incredible games out there. Our list may not look quite like anybody else's list, but we'll give you our top 10 solo games here in 2024 on Legendary Tactics. Gentlemen, solo gaming.
Solo games. Now, Flash, this isn't necessarily your first cup of tea.
No, I wouldn't say I'm a solo gamer generally,
right.
But I have had 3 games in particular that I've played, really enjoyed, and I would want to play again. So those 3 all made my list.
Very cool.
Yes.
All right.
And you two are fairly untraditional.
I played some solo games, but yeah, they're a little bit off the beaten track, probably.
Yours are a little more retro, I would say. And
I like to play solo games that can also duel as co-op games.
Yes, that's right.
So whenever you can get people on the same side,
I actually almost prefer solo games as co-op.
As that option,
to be honest,
right? Yeah.
Why not? If you can work together on it, provided you can work together on a particular game, I think it can be really fun.
Now, for our number 10, you've actually played this one digitally and also on the board. Which one do you prefer, and why have you chosen this one?
So Dune Imperium, most people would say is a great 4-player, 3-4 player game. It plays very well solo though, yes, digitally you can play against an AI, but inside the game box there is a deck of cards called the House of Hegel, and those do the actions for the other players. So it is like you're playing.
So it's like an automa.
Yeah, but it's very simple. You just flip the card and you place the worker there, and you get the bonus for that player. So it's like you're playing against other players because they will block you and they'll get bonuses and whatever. It plays really well solo. It's an excellent game as is, but it is actually one of the things that I really appreciate in a solo game is having quick play. So you're not spending too much time administering the bot or the system, and you can focus on your play.
That's right.
Dune Imperium fits that. It's a nice, snappy AI, and it works great. So
now, unfortunately, I asked my colleague to bring the next game because I don't own it. The game is Friday. It's in the world of Robinson Crusoe, but it's one that might fit almost in a large pocket. Just basically a deck of cards.
Smaller than this book, probably, actually.
Yeah, that's right. So, and for me, I like a nice portable game. So if I'm going to play solo, it might be just sort of to kill some time while I'm waiting for an appointment or something, or and I think for me that portability is important. So
maybe a little card game.
Yeah, it's a one where you're trying to craft a deck to optimize play, and it's really quite simple, easy to learn. And you and I actually played it together.
I did another co-op.
Another sort of absolutely.
We played it for the channel last year, I think. But I would thought it's a good game, but it's really weird. It's a really weird mechanic, and I don't know. To me, it's very unique in that sense.
And that might be why I liked it, because it just felt a little different, and there was something about it that made me think, this is a fun little solo game. There's not a lot of depth to it. It's pretty simple.
It's light. It's light. It's fun
for sure.
Yeah, I liked it. Yeah.
Okay, so Cax, we are on to our number 8.
Yes.
What have you chosen?
I don't have it here, unfortunately, but it's Marvel Champions. I really like Marvel Champions. I love the theme. I love the challenge it provides. The enemies in it I find are really tough to beat. Mm-hmm. And I love just the whole Marvel IP. It really just hits home for me. They've got a lot of neat superheroes. The base game gives you 4 different heroes you can work with. And it's just a really neat kind of push-pull mechanic, really.
And the bad guys get tougher.
They scale up.
As you go.
There's minions that come in. Yeah. There's different. It really kind of immerses you in the superhero narrative, which I am a narrative guy, so I really like that.
How does it compare to Sentinels of the Multiverse? And is that one a solo game?
That could be a solo game. Yep. Sentinels, very similar, except the Sentinels characters are all kind of just
not IP driven.
They're not off. Yeah, they're kind of just they're off.
Yeah, the generic.
They're in the Sentinels multiverse.
Yeah, they're the generics versions of superheroes
of the Marvel.
Elsewhere. Yeah.
Oh, okay, but Marvel's better than Sentinels.
I would say so, just because of name recognition and character recognition. It's gonna probably appeal to more people. Although I do like Sentinels, I have Sentinels, and I've played many games of Sentinels and I've enjoyed it too. So that's a really good comparison.
Let's move on to our number 7.
right.
And this is a game we all enjoy, again, playing together. But you've chosen
I didn't
this.
bring the box, but I have it at home. Viticulture. And Viticulture plays incredibly well solo. It's a very elegant, it's actually just a very elegant solo design, because essentially the the solo player doesn't actually play really much against you, but you have essentially you've got to play through each. I don't know if you remember the wake up, like the morning where you place your rooster and you choose a bonus. You can only choose each bonus once.
Oh,
and by
okay.
the time you finish 7 rounds of play, you have to have beaten the Automa's preset score.
Oh, okay. Because for me, a lot of the fun comes from I'm just about to choose something, and then this guy grabs it, and
There's
you're
a,
like, oh, no,
there
I
is
need
a
to
little
pivot.
bit of that. Like, it will place workers to block you a little bit, but it's not a player that's making any sort of conscious choice.
Right.
It's just, but it still works. It's really a neat, because again, it falls into that simple solo system. You still get to enjoy Viticulture. Still plays very much the same, but the way the Automa works is just so simple to administer, and it's actually really, really fun.
I really have to hand it to Jamie Stegmaier and Stonemaier Games in that every game they put out comes with a solo variant.
That's right.
The Automa system. I find that
requires
is
that.
just a really considerate thing to add into all their games, and a really neat feature of any Stonemaier game you buy.
Yeah.
So that's a real tip of the cap.
Makes me really consider Wingspan as my next choice. I'm not actually going to choose that, though. Instead, you two introduced me to Final Girl and limited plays. Oh, there we are. Yes, that's right. But what I like about this one is it's nice and compact. I mean, the whole game plays in 45 minutes.
Yeah,
I
maybe,
think it took
yeah.
us maybe half an hour. You could do it. But there's sort of a card mechanism where you're picking and choosing cards, but as soon as you use them, you have to rebuy them. And so it's just maximizing efficiency of when you play those cards. So for me, a good solo game is a good puzzle. And this one's a very puzzly game to try to beat. And it felt very hard, which I like.
Yes. Yeah, it's great.
That's Final Girl.
Yeah, and a lot of different chapters too that you can kind of buy on as add-ons and kind of explore the different adventures of Final Girl.
Yeah,
Right.
there's lots of replayability with that one.
And expandability.
If you will,
Yeah, I will.
pass on the next game to look at,
boy.
which is a classic, a goodie from 1983, I believe. It is called Ambush. It is one of the first choose-your-own adventures that I've come across.
This is one player only, too, right?
One solo player, yep.
Solo, yeah.
variant. And it has the a paragraph booklet.
Very badly named.
It has this very, very cool slide mechanic. This was a real neat, kind of innovative at the time, where basically you would line your...
You line up the hex location, and then you see if there's something that happens.
and if there is, you go to the paragraph
it'll
book,
refer you to a paragraph,
And you
which
read,
tells you the story.
and
so it'll
it
say,
unfolds.
if you move into this hex, look up paragraph 212, and then it
And
will...
you might be finding nothing. You might be finding, bones of something, or weapons, or you might be actually, in enemy fire.
Yeah.
So it's really every step you take in this game is potentially, peril or prize.
Yeah.
I also love about this game is that you build connection with the characters, and I'm a narrative guy, and so building those connections and really almost becoming part of the team that you're leading through this adventure on the board. I think you told a very famous story of one of the characters died, and you wanted to re-roll the dice.
Yes.
Because you did not want that character to die. I thought NATO getting tempted to break a rule is almost an oxymoron.
Yeah.
So this is over 40 years old, and both of these guys still really like this game. So if you haven't seen it, might be worth taking a look.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's Ambush.
Excellent. Okay. That takes us back over
To me.
to you.
Okay.
Yes.
So the next one is I didn't I totally forgot to bring, but great game, Thunderbolt Apache leader with DVG games, Dan Versen games. It is just what I love about it is you've got such an amazing amount of choice. there's you choose which mission you want to go on. You choose which pilots you bring with you. You choose how you load up the weapons. You choose what type of aircraft to bring, and you have to complete missions against some pretty tough enemies, and it's just a real challenge to win. And as the mission goes on, your pilots get more stressed out. And you start to get all your planes and helicopters, everything begins to get damaged, and you're like, oh, do I send this pilot out with this helicopter? It's got some damage, and this pilot's really stressed, and so there's just a lot of
like a
really
simulation almost.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a simulation. It's enough of a simulation that it feels like it represents the battles reasonably accurately, but it's a real challenge, and there's a lot of fun decision making to be made. And actually, CAX, it is a very narrative game. Like, it tells you kind of a cool story as you go. So that would be my next pick.
And I love that Thunderbolt Apache Leader is kind of the sky version of what Ambush does on land.
Yeah,
in a lot of ways, right? We've got
Very nice.
It's the air, land,
the air.
and
Yeah.
So all you're lacking is the sea.
The sea one.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. We're on to number 3, and thankfully I brought a copy of this game because I'm responsible. Just kidding. This is NATO's copy of the game. The game is Under Falling Skies. It's actually like a fairly hefty box for what it is. I mean, it's crazy. So this game is one where you build sort of your stratosphere, and there's a mothership, and I love, just like in Final Girl, where it feels like there's a timer on the game, just encroaching, pressing ever closer. There's lots of choice with how you apply your dice, and it just feels like it's going to be a different game every time you play it. And we also played this one together.
Yes.
I have a video
Years
of that.
ago,
And that was fun too.
Yeah, it was good. We played digitally.
I enjoyed myself thoroughly with that. And it just, whenever I have a good experience like that, I think by myself I enjoy this just as much as
Now, this has a
played,
campaign game in it as well. So you can just play the one-off scenarios, or you can actually dive into the campaign. I think on the back of the instructions, it actually shows you tells you how to pack. So this is your starting components in your campaign game below. So if you don't want to ruin, have any spoilers, then just play the surface level stuff. But anyway, it's a really neat. I think the components are great, and it's really nice.
And I need to play this more. I have not played this enough.
Yeah, it's great.
It is time for one of the big boxes to your left, Nato.
This is our number 2 game, and this is your favorite solo game.
This is probably my favorite solo game. I have played. I played it a lot, in particular on digital, on the digital version.
What happened to your box?
You know what? That is a sign of a well-used ball. And actually, I did create this. This can be seen here. I created my own holder. This is why, right here. Okay, it's my own little holder box. It's got all the components in it, but I built it. Actually, it was a COVID build.
Wow.
It was during COVID. I had very little to do at home, so I created a holder box, because buying a holder box is like $100 if you buy the actual one. So, but now it doesn't quite fit right. But that's okay. I played a lot of this, specifically digitally, but I've really enjoyed it. I've loved the character development in it. You grow your character. Your character can die off all of a sudden. New characters can enter.
And sometimes
restart.
When you play a game like this with family members who have no idea what the rules are, it's almost like playing solo, where you're running the whole scenario, and other people are inputting their decisions. And
it is a 1 to 4 player.
Right, yeah.
So it can be also that co-op idea again, which what we talked about earlier, I really do enjoy.
Yeah.
So
multiplayer solo.
And it's definitely got the narrative piece, so it just hits a lot of boxes for me.
And that brings us to our final game. NATO, you've been raving about this
I have
a lot.
And I apologize if I'm going on a bit too much about it, but this is another heavy box.
Designed exclusively as a solo game.
Yes, Mr. President. Everyone knows that I really like this game. It's a... essentially, it's one of the only game I know of where it's not about the election. It's about what happens as soon as the election is finished and you're actually in office. You get to control the political, military, economic power that is the United States of America, and you are out there in the world and trying to resolve wars and crises of various kinds, and you have to manage your domestic front and pass bills that are going to leave your legacy, as a president and so forth. It's not a short game, but it is a really, really immersive and fun experience.
Absolutely.
Definitely really worth it if you have the time and
this is a game I would probably set a room aside and just set the game up and leave it for weeks on end and just peck away at it a little bit at a time.
You also need to be a pretty dedicated and serious solo gamer to tackle this one. This is not for a light solo gamer.
Correct, yes.
You're gonna, I think there's a lot of rules.
Like under Falling Skies, you can probably get away with about half an hour. Same with Final Girl.
Yep.
Times it
Dune
by
Imperium,
8 for this one, right? To start. You're in.
As you could tell, if you like a heavy game, you're going to want to go with NATO's picks. If you like a middling game that's fun and thematically driven, you're going to go with CAC's. And if you want a really light, quick to play, easy in, easy out solitaire game, you're going to want to go with my picks.
Yes.
Yeah. So what are your picks? Please take a moment, put them in the comments, share your thoughts, and we'd love to hear from you.
In the meantime, get out there.
Get gaming.
And be legendary.